In this story, MC is considered a mob character, but he is secretly a genius. Because of that, he somehow ended up helping the top 3 beautiful girls from his class in secret. But to MC's surprise, 3 guys from his class suddenly invites him to karaoke. So he asks to them on why he is getting invited. As a result, they gets irritated and says that there are girls coming to the karaoke from a different school. So they wants him to put use of his good looks for use only once. To which he thoughts to himself they are inviting him to a mixer. And he goes on by asking if they are being serious, because it's like they are putting the ropes on their necks by themselves, which scared those guys a little bit. But then he suddenly says he will monopolize all the girls to himself if he attends the mixer, which is making to feel only pity for them. After that, they got disappointed, and they stares at him silently. In the end, this made him to get embarrassed, so he panickingly asks them to at least say something in return. To which they started to say that he should not have said it if he will get embarrassed, and other guy says they should just find a different guy to invite. In the end, they left him, to which he thoughts to himself that they are being really rude. After that, he suddenly hears a noise, which is a girl, and she says good morning to MC. To which the MC says good morning back. But before he could say anything, other girl suddenly hugs her, and she started to say she missed her, because she was absent from the school for a long time. In the end, MC gets silent. Afterwards, Amain says she went to LA with her father, which shocks their classmates because her father was a designer. All of the sudden, her friends asks her if she is okay, because they have quizzes today. To which she blushingly replies she has no problem for that, because she already finished preparing for it, which shocks her friends, and they says it's as expected of the top scoring student. She then goes on by saying she will teach them. As a result, they gets really happy. After that, MC thoughts to himself that she is working as a model who is also a fashion leader for teenage girls. Afterwards, the school ends, and then Amain's friend walks into the class asking her to walk together when returning to home. But to her surprise, she was sitting with MC. So she asks if she is doing another study session. To which Amain replies yes. Afterwards, her friend asks MC to stop studying, because he is getting just pass mark every time. To which he says he will score better next time. As a result, Amain backs him up by saying he is trying really hard, so she pities him, which made her to help him. As a result, she gets silent and leaves by asking him to not trouble a goddess like her. After a while, she left, and MC calls her and says sorry for making her to pity him. But she asks sorry to him and begs MC to teach her on how to study. As a result, he accepts, and he goes on by telling her to just stop pretending to be a model student them. To which Amain replies it's too late for her to do that. Afterwards, he thoughts to himself that Amain is really busy with her work, which almost made her to repeat a year. So he decided to start a study session for her and drill every important points into her mind as soon as possible. After that, he gives her the notes and says she is always getting full off herself after getting a good grade. And she started to tell the other kids she will teach them. Because of that, she can't even back down anymore. Afterwards, he started to feel proud, because she is still working really hard to remember everything. Plus, she is remembering good enough to teach others. So which means she is a smart girl to begin with. Afterwards, the school bell rings again. As a result, he decides to leave by saying it's time to pack it up, because he have work to do. But she stares at him while blushing and asks if he is the one who is pretending to be dumb and can't back down from it. Because if he tries, he can easily get top grade. As a result, he replies it's more easier if nobody expects anything from him, but still seeing her working hard is itself enough for him, which made her to get flustered, and she goes on by grabbing his shirt. She then goes on by saying that he shouldn't say that she getting thought by him to anyone, because he is the only person that knows this weak side of her. To which he slightly smiles and says he knows. As a result, she looks at him while blushing and leaves his shirt. After a while, she closes the book, and she started hug that notes while blushing really hard. Afterwards, she taps her legs on the bench while thinking MC is in love with her, because there is no way he will do this much of things for a friend. So that means one of them must confess to get together. All of the sudden, she gets sad, because she have no experience in dating a boy, so it might become awkward between them. And then she suddenly taps the notes and thinks MC is only interested in her, so she shouldn't rush things. Plus, even though she doesn't have a rival, she somehow feels frustrated, After a while, every single student was standing in the assembly, but they weren't interested in whatever they are saying in the mic. But everyone started to get serious after they announced that the student council president is about to give speech. And her name is Hakuya Shirajuku. She then asks the students to get silent, and they quickly become silent. Afterwards, she started to explain to them that there is a sports day coming in the next month. Afterwards, while she is speaking, those guys from MC's class says she is a goddess. Also, she just rejected a top beautiful guy that's in the basketball club. Even though she is a beautiful girl, she is the next heiress of a big and rich family. So this things itself puts her in the top national level beauty. But MC is just silently hears them. Afterwards, she finished her speech. In the end, while she was walking back, he takes a look at her. But to his surprise, she is already looking at him while blushing, which made MC to blush. After a while, it was the night time. He comes back to his home. But then someone suddenly greets him, which was that student council president. He then thoughts to himself that she is living next door to his apartment, so sometimes she drops by his home to cook food. Since both of their family is running a major big company, also both of them is a next heiress for the company. Their family decides to make them engaged, but that was until he was the next heir. But now he is no longer the next heir, also no longer her fiancé. Afterwards, she looks at him after cooking the dinner, and then she calls him and opens her arms while blushing. After thinking for a while, he hugs her back, but he was trembling. And then he says home to her. But for some reason she started to pout. Suddenly she gets happy after he calls her name. She then started to pat his head. After seeing her from the above, he thoughts to himself that her presence is overwhelming. In the end, he pushes her away and tells to her that they should eat the food before it gets cold, while thinking that this girl's sense of distance is broken whenever they're together alone. Afterwards, they finished eating the food. While washing the plates, he says thanks for her to cooking the food for him. As a result, she replies it's not a big deal since she is going to cook for her anyways. All of the sudden, she gets serious and calls his name, to which he replies yes, and she suddenly asks to him that he have something to say to her, which is about her cooking, which shocks him, so he says that her cooking was really delicious. But this made her to get silent, and she is still upset. And she goes on by asking to him on how exactly it was delicious, which shocks him, and then he goes on by saying that it was the best in the world. And this made her to get flabbergasted. So she quickly leaves by telling to him that she will make food for him every day. After hearing it, he looks at the pot, and then he realizes there is too much leftover is here. Meanwhile, she was still standing outside. She then suddenly thoughts to herself that it's her another victory. Also, she pulled some strings behind the back and secured an apartment that's next to the MC. She even secured a spare key for his apartment, so there is no way a other girl will get in their way. When they were in the middle school, he was the one that talked to her as a girl, while everyone just looked at her as an heir of the big company. But then their engagement got broken when they realizes he is not an heir anymore. Also, she knows he is still playing as a clown for some reason. Afterwards, she thoughts to stay by his side forever, even after taking over her father's company. Afterwards, in the next day, it was lunchtime, and he thoughts to himself that no one in this class will know it's a homemade lunch from that student council president. After that, he decides to eat the lunch, and someone shouts. So he comes out of the class and asks to them on what happened, to which she says that this guy was looking at her friend with a lecherous face and he was trying to approach her. But then that girl looks at MC while blushing. Afterwards, MC kicks that guy inside class by saying, it's probably his fault. He then goes on by asking to them on what they want because they are in the second year's class even though they are just a first year. He then thoughts to himself that she is a type of girl that's like a healer when she speaks. At the same time, her friend right here is a total opposite, and she will always protect that angel-like girl. But both of them is in the same club as his club. Afterwards, Angel Girl asks to him if they are having club today, which shocks him, so he says if she wanted to ask that she should have just messaged him, and then she says that both of them is free today. As a result, he quickly replies, so which means they are having club today. She then suddenly asks to him if he read the book she recommended before, and then he says he just bought it and didn't started to read it. All of the sudden, someone blocks him, which shocks him, because it was her friend blocking her. and she started to say with an irritated face that he shouldn't get lovely-dovely with her. After saying it, she started to walk away with her. After that, she suddenly looks at him and she calls him a lecherous guy, and this shocked him. Afterwards, he started to cry while saying all he wanted to say, that he bought the book that she recommended. In the end, the school ended and they were in their club room. He then thought to himself that their club room is nothing but this 3 people, and all they do is chat to themselves while reading some book. Also, the people that used to be in this club got graduated, leaving only him left. So he decided to close the club, but for some reason this 2 first girls joined the club. And Inori is always reading the book, while her friend here is looking at him. She then suddenly asks him to stop staring at her with those pervy eyes. As a result, he thoughts to himself that's too much even to put as an accusation. After that, he realizes she is just playing the games and don't even read the book. And then he gives up because she must have joined the club to protect her friend. All of the sudden that girl says the culprit was the sister, which shocks him. And Inori started to look both of them. Meanwhile, he started to flip the page really fast while thinking to himself it should be lie. After reading it, he closes the book. And then he started to shout at her by saying that the sister wasn't even the culprit. She then says there is no way she will spoil the story because she hates spoils. Afterwards he replies, even a not spoil is also a spoil on its own way. To which she blushingly replies that's what he get for neglecting his juniors and reading the book. As a result, he says that's exactly why this club is here. Afterwards, he thoughts to himself that she is always using him as her amusement. In the end, he gets serious and he gets up, which made her to get shocked. But he goes on by pulling his chair next to her. And then he sits there, which shocks her, and she goes on by getting really flustered. But he was just staring her with a dead eyes. Meanwhile, her heart started race, so she asks to him if he finally revealed his true nature as a lecherous guy. But this made him to get angry, so he asks to her that she is always thinking him as an enemy whenever he gets near Inori. So does this mean she is trying to get his attention all this time? Meanwhile, Inori doesn't know what to do. But MC takes his hand, and he goes on by reaching her cheeks. Afterwards, he lifts her head by asking her to be honest with him. In the end, she started to get really flustered. In the end, she started to wait for his kiss. After a while, she opens her eyes. And to her surprise, he was sitting all the back there. And he tells to her that someone will jump on her if she is keep on acting like this, which flabbergasted her. In the end, she throws a book on his head. As a result, she started to leave by calling him a pervert. He then gets up thinking that he thought she will say he was really cool this time. In the end, he realizes that the book she just throwed was the same storybook he was reading. Afterwards, she was feeling really bad. Inori then says it was her fault, also she was reading the same book as him, just so they will be in the same line. But she ruined it by herself. Afterwards, she then makes a joke by saying if she really wanted him to fuss over that much. Meanwhile, she is still flustered. All of the sudden, Inori says it's in fate that they got reunioned. As a result, she thoughts to herself that some dude's saying she is getting carried away even though they are studying middle school. But then MC saved them by saying that this 2 little kittens are scared, so they should stop bullying them. As a result, she started to look at him while blushing, but still MC got beaten real badly after that. As a result, it made her the 3rd love candidate. Afterwards, at the next day, he comes to school. And Amain waits for him in the stairs. Also, that president of the student council was waiting for him. Plus, those juniors are also waiting to say good morning to him. One girl is looking forward for his small date they will have after school, while the other one cooks food for him. Also, the last girl uses strict words to talk with him. But then someone who is the new girl that calls him, and she suddenly says she loves him and she wants to go out with him, which shocks everyone. Meanwhile, she, the new girl, is standing there while blushing. And her name is Nano Nanes, who is a normal transfer student. In the end, this puts an end to their one-sided love. Or is it because 3 of them gets really angry, and they thoughts to themselves they are not going to hand him over to anyone. As a result, this outcome of this story is not yet decided.